All right. So now we have our strategy, land or houses, and now we have our market. Okay. Now let's talk about exactly what we do for you at Lead Mining. We do 5 main things for every single client. Okay. We can pull a list in any market in America. All right. Now you give us the criteria, you give us the acreage, you give us the equity amounts, and then we will pull everything in that specification and that criteria that you gave us. We'll pull the list. All right. Next, after we get the list, we'll skip trace it. Now, skip tracing is the art of getting an accurate phone number. And that is exactly what we do at Lead Mining. We get the right phone number over 80% of the time. This is extremely important, and we can prove it to you inside of our cold calling division. Now, cold calling is our next stop. I offer 2 different teams, American callers or foreign callers. Now, if you're doing land, I would not mess with the foreign callers at all. If you're doing land, focus on Americans. We've already had other clients split test them, and there's no reason to go foreign because the results are so much lower. And the other thing about land is there's not as many records. So you cannot afford to have a cold caller underperforming on your list because there's only 2,000 pieces of land in that market to begin with. You don't have the time or the list size to burn through any of those leads. Now, when is the best time to use foreign callers? Okay, I'm going to tell you. If you are in a known saturated market, that is the best time to use foreign callers. Phoenix, Atlanta, Miami, Orlando, Southern California, great examples on when to use foreign callers. And that's because those markets are being pounded already by all the other house investors. So it doesn't really matter as much if it is an American or a foreign person on the phone. So that is exactly how our cold calling works. Okay, next, after cold calling, what we do is we offer text messaging. Now, our text messaging is all done for you. All right, it's done on our texting platform, not yours. You don't need an A2P number. We already have that. All right, and then we actually text everybody on the list for you, and my team replies to all positive responses completely free. That's true, completely free. It's all included. There's no nickel and diming. There's no after charges or anything. All right, and then what we do is we email those to you at the end of every day, probably somewhere between 7 and 10 p.m. Now, why does that happen? Well, it's because most of our texting is done from 2:30 to 6:30 p.m. in your time zone. And what we do is we wait for all those conversations to wrap up, and then we send them all over to you. We also monitor the text messages for up to 4 days after we send them. So you're going to have that as well. You're going to see maybe text come in right away, and then you might see text come in later. And it's because we're monitoring for people that don't respond right away to make sure you get as many leads as possible. Now, the last thing I offer, and this is probably one of the best things, is I offer weekly one-on-ones with me to go over your entire campaign and cover all of the KPIs one by one. And then we do that over a Zoom call. So every Friday, you're going to get all of your stats sent to you in an email. And in that email is going to be a link to book a one-on-one Zoom call with me. And we're going to cover your entire campaign. Now, this call goes one of 2 ways. Either A, we get a lot of leads, and then I help coach you through your acquisitions process. Or B, we don't get a lot of leads, and then I tell you what we can do to troubleshoot the campaign and increase your results. That happens a lot too. Very often, a client will pick an area that's a little saturated. Then we'll make a pivot and they'll get a contract. It happens all the time. Recently happened to Kimmy Wen outside of Washington, which was awesome. So sometimes these pivots can really help us close deals, and we cover those strategies in those one-on-one calls. So that's everything that we do for you at Lead Mining.